All right, we're going to talk about metric measurements and conversions. This will be the third thing in your notebook. Now, we use the metric system because it's a lot easier if this is a regular inch ruler, and if we were going to measure something that was to right there, that length, you would have to be fairly good at it. Now, my dad was a contractor, so I got fairly familiar with reading a tape measure, and you would know looking at this that this is 2 3/8, and it's a little bit stronger than that, and most of the time my dad would just say it's a strong 2 3/8. It would be 7/16. For the most part, we don't like fractions much, and especially if we have to start adding or dividing, we don't like that whole need for common denominators and things along that line. So it's hard to read, especially if it doesn't come up right on the line. So we went on to way back in 1795 and came up with the metric system. And so this would be like a metric ruler, and this would be in centimeters. Now, it's obviously not to scale, so you can see it. This is much larger than a real centimeter is going to be about that size. But if we were measuring to there, we would say that this is 5 full centimeters, and then it's 1 2 pass, so 0.2, and it's past the 2, but it's not all the way to 3, and it's just past, and you always get one place of uncertainty. So I'm going to guess that that would be about 2/10 of the way across. It's definitely not half, so I would say it's 5.22 centimeters. Much easier to read. I don't have any fractions. If I'm going to add that, subtract it, do anything with it, it's much easier to do with 5.22 rather than something in 3/8 or 7/16. It's going to take a lot less to actually read this as we go along. Now, we have different prefixes that you will have, and hopefully you get familiar with them. Most of the times, the prefixes that we actually use a lot are the kilo, and then right in here would be the unit, like a meter or a gram. In that, a liter, that's going to be just the unit. And then we use centi and we use milli a lot. But it's good to know that the rest and the conversion in them is simply multiplying or dividing by 10, which we generally like to do. Going up, you just add a 0. Going down, you just take a 0 away or divide by 10. And the unit would be in the middle. To keep it red, it would be the 1. So this would be a decameter. A meter would just be 1, and then a decimeter would be 1/10 of a meter. To actually do the conversions, if you have this chart here, which I will give to you as you get used to it, we are just becoming familiar with it, we can use it. And even though these are in meters and we're asking about grams, that's the nice thing about the metric system. We don't even need to know what the units stand for. As long as we know what the prefixes are, then we can do the conversion. And if there's only one, there's no prefix, that means it's going to be the one that's in the middle. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go to centi. And it could be centiliter, centigram, centinewton, centa anything. And that's over here. And to get from here to here, I have to go 1, 2 places to the right. So my decimal is going to do the same thing. If that went to, it's going to go 1, 2 places to the right. So this would be 486.3 centigrams. All right, and I don't know why I paused there as if you were going to ask me a question. If you have any questions, we're going to do some more examples. If you have any questions, go ahead and send me an email or a note in Canvas, however you want to do it, and I will try and get back to you quickly. Okay, so let's try this one. You can pause it at this point and figure it out and then see how you did, because it's one of those things that always looks so simple when somebody else is doing it until you figured it out, and then it becomes easy. But all right, if you've done it, if you've stopped pausing it, let's go ahead and fix it. I'm going to go from kilo to centi. So I'm going to go from kilo to centi. So I'm still going to the right, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to the right. And there's no decimal there, and so you know that if it's not there, if it's not put there, we assume it to be at the end of it, and I'm going to go 5 this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my new decimal is going to be right there. But I have to have a placeholder for that, and we use zeros as placeholders. Whoops. So I'm going to put my zeros in for each time I moved over, and then I can put commas in. So 14 kilometers is 1,400,000 centimeters. Don't need a calculator, don't need to change any numbers, don't need to know conversion factor other than what the 10. This means 1/100, this means 1,000 of them. So I'm actually going to move it 100,000 places times over, so I get 1,400,000. All right, try this one. Meters to kilometers. This time we're starting at meters and we're going to kilometers. So we're going to go to the left. One, two, 3 places to the left. So again, if I start with 400, my decimal is at the end. I'm going to go 3 to the left. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. There's my new decimal. So I get 0.4. If you put the zeros on, later on we'll learn that it actually isn't as correct if you put the zeros on afterwards to do with significant digits. But I don't care about that now. If you put 0.400, that would be fine. 0.4 is actually more correct, and I can try and explain that, but it's confusing until we've actually done the significant digits part. All right, try those. Go ahead and pause the video and try those, and then we'll come back and see how you did, because this is what your activity, the next thing, number 4 in your notebook, is going to be filling out just 15 of these, and then that would be what your quiz is as well, is just doing 15. Same thing, just different kind of numbers. All right, hopefully you paused it so that you could give it a try. And I think I did. There are the correct answers. To go from millimeters to centimeters, I had to go 1 place to the left. So my decimal went 1 place to the left, so I get 2.59. The opposite, from centi to milli, I go 1 place to the right. So I assumed a decimal here. I go 1 place to the right. I've got to put a placeholder. It goes from 165 to 1,650. Kilograms to grams, kilo to the unit, I'm going to go 3 places to the right. So here's my decimal. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and I end up with 28.7 grams. Here's a case where we don't necessarily know what the units are. Hz happens to be hertz. It's a unit of frequency for waves or any kind of cyclical motion. But we're going to go from kilo to the unit. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 this way. So I will go 1, 2, 3, put in 3 placeholders so I get 15,000 hertz. All right, hope that helps. You can go back and watch it again if there's parts you need to see. And you can just click on the assignment part there underneath this, and you can download the assignment to work on. Send me any questions you might have.